Welcome back to Rome. I'm Ed Morrissey for Catholic Match Institute in Hot Air, speaking here with Dr. Grazie Christie, who is here with the Catholic Association, discussing the Synod of the Family, discussing Catholic doctrine on family life, and she is actually one of the people that is already on the ground working this. Grazie, what is it that you do in the parishes, in the parish that you work in Miami?
Well, I teach as a doctor. I'm in great demand to teach sex ed because I'm a woman and a doctor, and they bring me in and I teach sex ed to every middle schooler in the Archdiocese, many hundreds of them. So I do this several times a year. I teach them when they're 5th graders, when they're 6th graders, when they're 8th graders, and I sort of move them through the process. And I like to think when I'm teaching sex ed is I'm teaching marriage and family, and I'm teaching the vision of the Catholic Church as to marriage and family.
And this is first off, God bless you, because I do catechism. I just started doing catechism for 4th graders, and I can't even imagine having to get up in front of 5th graders and 8th graders and teach sex education. It's and I'm not a doctor, but I mean it's still that's a very challenging ministry.
I have to say it's horrifying. I leave the room and I'm dripping sweat because it's just horrifying. I can't imagine. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But the truth is nobody wants the job.
Right, and this is part of what we're talking about when we're talking about forming people in the Catholic faith and forming people in the Catholic doctrines on family life, is that we don't have enough people on the ground doing this sort of work. You're doing it, which is, again, God bless you for doing that. But this is part of what this synod is trying to inspire, is to inspire regular lay Catholics into these positions so that we can teach the truth and beauty of the Catholic doctrine.
I think that I know that people feel uncomfortable about communicating these truths because there's so much cultural dissonance. The culture doesn't back us up in any way. So we're deeply countercultural. And sometimes when I'm standing up there talking about these timeless truths, right? I know that the children are squirming and they're thinking I'm crazy. And people don't want to get into that situation. I teach boys, not just girls, and several times they've tried to bring in male doctors to have the same talk, and the men don't last. They need somebody who can stick through those tough questions.
And obviously this is one particular area of family doctrine and formation, but that's not necessarily an uncommon reaction with people who do get involved in family formation and family doctrine, is that it's difficult to teach sometimes, but that's the group that you're working with. That's the group that you've got to reach, right?
I think that the middle school years, if you haven't caught them in middle school, high school, there's going to be too much of them. They're going to be sucked up by the culture, and they're not going to have any foundation in order to fight back against what they're hearing all day long on TV and on the radio. And I think middle school is key. And when I say I teach sex ed, that's a very small part of what I teach.
Right. Yeah.
Because what I teach is I teach chastity, which is a very strange term nowadays. People don't understand it, but it's just sexual self-control. And I teach how that integrates into a lifetime of spousal relation, and how learning that when you're young gives you that beauty that will last you through your entire married life.
Grazie, what are the challenges that you see in the classroom with your kids when it comes to cultural influences on how they perceive family life, how they perceive sex, how they perceive married life, Catholic or not Catholic? What are the challenges that you face?
What's so scary to me is I only teach Catholic children, and the Catholic children themselves, when I'm teaching them, they have an abysmal ignorance as to Catholic teaching on family and marriage. So they are perfect portraits of the culture that they live in, which is very scary to me because many of these kids have been in Catholic school all their lives. So how did they miss all that? And I know how they missed it. They missed it because nobody's actually said it to them until I say it. But going back to your question, the culture that they're steeped in, I don't try to wall myself off from the culture. I try to see what my children are seeing and read what they're reading, and I hardly ever read or see anything in the general culture that is supportive of our view of marriage, of the beautiful Catholic truths of marriage.
So we need to get more people on the ground. We need to get families involved, and we need resources for those families to teach those kids in the homes first, and then in the parishes, in the youth groups, and all of that, about the breadth, the entire breadth of Catholic teachings on family life.
I think we need a lot of cultural confidence. We need to know that we're right, that what we teach is the truth, what we believe is the truth, what we believe is beautiful, and that what we believe sustains marriage, sustains family, and then in turn, the family sustains society. The family is the basic cell of society. So everything that we do to support families supports our entire society. So we can't have enough confidence about our message. We can't have enough.